Hello, my name is Jowita Bydlowska, and I am the author of Unshaming, a memoir of recovery, relapse, and what comes after. So, I wanted to write about shame in a broader sense, how it shapes our choices, our relationships, the stories we tell about ourselves. But I realized fairly early on that I couldn't approach it honestly from a distance. Um, if I was going to write about shame, I had to start with my own. So this book became personal. I wrote about relapse, but also about motherhood, ambition, identity, memory, and the overwhelming pressure to appear fine even when you aren't. And I think a lot of people can relate to that one. I wrote about what it means to succeed publicly while struggling privately. And I'm specifically referring to the success of my first memoir called Drunk Mom. Um, and I also talk about that paranoia of thinking myself to be this publicly sober person uh, while, struggling with staying sober in my private life. And I wanted to write about how easy it was to feel absolutely alone inside that gap. That void, I would say. I also found myself trying to create a book that I had been searching for, a story that was about recovery, that doesn't rush toward redemption or pretend there's like a single path forward. Um, that story that sort of stays in the middle, where most of us actually live. So instead of offering answers, I think that Unshaming asks a couple questions. It does offer some answers, but a few questions. And while addiction is part of my story, this book reaches beyond that. It's for anyone who has ever carried quiet embarrassment, self-doubt, or the sense that they're the only ones still figuring things out. At its core, Unshaming is an invitation, I hope, to speak more openly, to loosen the grip of secrecy, and to allow ourselves to be imperfect and still worthy. Thank you so much for being here and for being a part of this journey.